nobody like work, but you must hustle if you want job. If no finish, them won't fight us. If them they run, them no fit catch up. I know they from say you're too righteous. No come they from say you don't like us. You no get the time for the hate and the bad energy. Come on, mind on my money. Make you dance like broccoli. Steady green like broccoli. Steady on my grind, oh yeah, what they want telling me. Could be not my fantasy. You want to check if my tap be more. But it is rush for when it be more. Now they make my tap be rush. Because money we touch. Yeah, it is rush for when it be more. Don't be hype, everybody it rush. There's no door in it. Make it press like broccoli. Steady green like broccoli. Steady on my grind, oh yeah, what you want telling me. Could be now my fantasy. I want to check if my tap in the but it rush quite well in the rush. Now gonna make my tap in the rush. It's kind of money we touch. Yeah, it rush quite well in the rush. Don't be hype, everybody they rush. There's no door in the door. It rush quite well in the rush. Now gonna make my tap in the rush. The kind money we touch. It rush quite well in the rush. Don't be hype, everybody they rush. There's no door. Don't be hype, everybody they rush. There's no door in the door. It rush quite well in the rush. Now gonna make my tap in the rush. The kind money we touch. It rush quite well in the rush. Don't be hype, everybody they rush. There's no door in the door. There's no door in
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Let's Pop with Iritan. I hope you're doing better. Thank you so much for joining me live on TikTok, guys. We're here. Thank you, Mello, Peikumu. I hope I got the name right. Peter, thank you so much for liking and joining here. Remember, you can download our app on Google Store, and also kindly you can stream live if you're using the iPhone on www.blackheartfirenetwork.com, the best radio station in Africa, where we talk about facts, truth, and everything in regards to redefining Africans, in regards to who we are as Africans. And this is the only place you can find truth in regards to everything that's happening in the world. Remember that you are the change you need to see in the world. And also, those guys are live on YouTube, Twitter, that's X, and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me here on a Monday in the 254. It is a great time to be alive in July. It's going to be a great week, remembering that you are the change you need to see in the world. Today, we're going to talk about, I know a lot has been happening during the weekend, and we have some few videos talking about everything that is happening. And to sum it all up, basically, in regards to every conversation that has been happening, we're going to talk about the book, The Confessions of an Economic Hitman. This is regarding everything that is happening to the African countries. I know we've been talking about that, or even Joby has been talking about that on the Vibe Show. We've been talking about that. But we're gonna go in depth into basically what that means, the people who basically work in this organization, and mainly the meaning of that. We know the IMF and the World Bank is a part of this, and also we'll talk about the fact that people here in Kenya, members of parliament, senators, a lot of people in the government are basically disclosing everything that has been basically been hidden in regards to how we've known about the government. And they're talking about how even the SGR money is not going back to the China government. Basically, people are pocketing this amount of money. And it was all a lie. The fact that we were paying to pay for the SGR development, that was basically all made up. Member of Parliament was basically talking about that on an interview. And also, we have a very interesting documentary in regards to basically what is an economic hitman and how basically they do their turns to see which country they're going to go after, which leader they're going to appoint. And I feel it's very interesting because I know we're very woke, I understand that, but to basically help us basically understand everything that is happening, even where the president is at right now, I know we'll basically be able to note the fact that we know I basically understand right now where he's at, because I believe he's in a very tight corner. Because is he gonna please the people or basically go ahead and follow what these people, the economic hitman, are basically telling him to do? But I know, as for the generation that we are right now, they don't really care. We just want a very liberal government with better leaders, with leaders who understand what a country can be. They have a vision for the country. But I'm going to play or share this video in regards to what is an economic hitman. But first, I'm going to expound the meaning of an economic hitman. This is basically people who can basically manipulate governments and exploit resources for the benefit of corporation and for the elite. So basically, it basically uncovers the dark side of global capitalism. And I'm going to repeat again: economic hitman. These are people or organizations who can basically manipulate governments and exploit resources for the benefit of corporations and the elite, sorry. And basically, as I said earlier, it can uncover the dark side of global capitalism. I'll share a video in depth into what that is. But before I share a video in regards to the economic hitman, I'll share a video here from the 254 in regards to Okia Omtata. That's a member of parliament, basically a senator, Okia Omtata, who basically reveals all the loophole that taxpayers have been losing money and how the system can be fixed in regards to that. But basically, he's been revealing loopholes that taxpayers have been paying money, but the money has been going back to people's pockets, not to the China government. I'll basically share a brief in regards to that conversation, but I hope you're all doing better. I hope you all had a very amazing weekend. It's an amazing, amazing time here in the 254, and I hope you all are doing better on your side. I'll share that video right away so we can be able to understand what is happening all the way. But remember to download our app on Google Store, as I said earlier. And the guys are using the iPhone, kindly go to www.blackoutfriendnetwork.com for more information.
What is dissolving parliament and how does it help?
Who will dissolve parliament?
The president.
No, he can't.
Do you think the president right now can turn things around by subjecting?
He can't.
Why?
Our guest for this episode has
As I said earlier, I don't think the president. He's in a very tight corner right now. Honestly, I think he's in a very tight corner. But regardless, the people, we don't really care about the deals that he made or anything that he signed. Right now, the people, the generation, they want a new leader. And I think he's just going to sort himself out in regards to how he made those deals, took the 1,000 trillion loans from other countries, from this organization, and he'll basically have to figure out how he's going to pay for that. The fact that he said, no, it's enough, we just want new leaders, it's basically up to him.
earned himself the title of the People's Defender, and more evidence can be found in this episode.
Arrangement where you have got CDF. Then the CDF becomes a slush fund for these guys. So the government does its corruption, and then tells the MPs,
So that's where
yeah. They just
it's more like a legal bribe.
Okia Omtata is the senator of the great county of Busia, but is well known for speaking for all Kenyans.
So a public debt should be a debt that benefited you and me and him.
That's a fact. It should definitely have benefited the country, but we look back, is it 2 years right now? There's nothing to show for it. Literally, honestly, what has the government done with the trillions of debt that they've taken? What is there to show for it? Anything at all? Nothing. But we just see a lot of money being allocated to different offices, but we don't even know, we've never even heard of these offices before. They just came up from nowhere. But the main question, even Okir Omtata is basically asking is, if you take a loan, if you're a leader taking a loan, alrighty, we understand maybe you need to develop whatever you need to develop it all, but still we do not really need that because we have everything that we need in Africa, in Kenya, to make Kenya a better country. But he's actually asking a very direct question right now. Where is the money in regards to how can you show what you've done with the debt that you've taken from this organization? There's nothing to show for it. It's supposed to benefit the country first. That's the people, the government, and every individual that is a part of that country.
But a debt that a regime took to benefit the owners of the regime, like the SGR, should not be in our debt register.
He breaks down all the wrong.
Honestly, guys, because I found out that today in concerning the SDR, I was so shocked because I knew in my mind that the fact that the Chinese built the SGR and we were not able to pay back the money, I knew when guys are using the train back and forth, the money is going back to the Chinese. But no, he says that the money that are used to build the SGR is actually it's all Kenyan money. We did not borrow anything. So what is this mind games and mind tricks they're playing with us, honestly?
Parastatals are not a dumping ground for failed politicians. What do Kenyans lose through wrongful appointment to parastatals?
To understand a parastatal, you need to go to a developmental state.
The scams and robberies that some people have never even heard of.
I've done a spreadsheet on other expenses. They come to 52 billion shillings. That's money to be stolen.
52 billion
Yes.
in one financial year.
Thank you, Z. Thank you, Keep, for joining me on TikTok. Hi, I hope you're doing better. Keep, thank you so much for joining me here. Remember to like this TikTok, and also you can share to invite more people to basically understand the confessions of an economic hitman. That's the topic of the day, and basically how the government has been dealing with this. But I hope you're doing better. Thank you so much for joining me here this beautiful afternoon.
The good news is there's hope.
Our conversation is happening at Wojo Africa, a premium co-working space located in
Had these things. It's not there. The private sector is having this thing. You have to call this thing from the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
At some stage, you might get the military to come in and had the earth moving equipment. But the Ministry of Works,
Yes.
which naturally should have these things, should have the capacity to engage, should be building roads for us and doing whatever, it's just there. So the private sector people are just playing around. They've got a free run in this country. They inflate prices, they collude with all these things. So the whole thing is just a confusion. Bottom line is deal making. So you've totally surrendered our country to market forces, and market forces are not your friend.
He says market forces are not our friends. And that brings us to the topic in regards to the economic hitman. These are people basically control most of the economics or economic world sector in the world. They basically the ones to decide what goes in, what goes out, anything to do with economic factors or sectors. And he said that in regards to the market sectors, if you're thinking about developing our country, talk about the SGR that he's mentioned, talking about building roads, and we're trusting our finances to these parastatals, they're basically a part of the pact in regards to the economic hitman.
They want to make profit.
Okay.
Yeah, they want a pound of flesh near your heart. So it is political action that can then say, this is going to be this way, this is going to be this way. There's the Turkana, we must put roads there to achieve whatever. The market will not do that. But once you put up the infrastructure and whatever, the market will come run on that infrastructure. So that surrender of the polity to be driven by market forces, provision of all services
Yes,
is
yes.
private. Now again, you see the push to privatize strategic assets.
Okay.
Yeah, it's further a removal of the state from engaging with people. So the state will just remain for taxation.
And does this also tie?
Isn't it amazing the fact that we understand that we choose leaders when you're going to vote, which doesn't really happen because they've already been chosen, but still someone to really accept that offer because it's going to benefit you and your family and the other organization, the IMF. It's going to basically benefit because basically if you're taking these trillions of dollars in regards to debt, you know you're not going to pay it back in time. And that's why we saw a lot of the finance bill that was basically withdrawn was actually out of proportion. It was not making sense because it was a way for us to pay this debts that we actually maybe did not need because most of them are being allocated to the people in government. But honestly, is it so wicked of an individual to basically take that deal? And what if we can just say no? Like, what if they cannot find someone who they can basically control? What if, you know?
To public transport because there was
Yes.
a time government was in public transport. Now it's in the private sector.
And public transport is a critical strategic area. You can't leave it to matatus.
But then the question now becomes reversing that will be tricky because the matatu industry is credited for employment of more Kenyans than the government will
It's
sustain.
not tricky. But what kind of employment is it? It's not tricky. You have to get this whole country running.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have everybody who can afford a car driving into Nairobi. You must create a situation whereby you don't need your car to move.
Okay.
There's public transport, it's moving people in an efficient way so that somebody doesn't get, matatu, sometimes you get to the office, people are stressed. Look at the queues that you see in Nairobi in the evenings. Shouldn't be having that. A light train would mop up all these people. So, and the matatu sector, if there have been investors there, they can buy shares in these companies, can be co-investors in public-private partnerships.
And they can make the same amount of money they are making in the
orderly
matatu.
manner. And you have fewer vehicles on the road because a bus will carry more people than
He's actually saying something really very important, and he said that it is in regards to maybe creating a private sector that is not in concurrent with the economic hitman or the organization. And it's basically brought this point to my mind right now, and I'm thinking, what if we can, because it's possible, create a strategy in regards that we do not need any help from any foreign countries, because we can do that. We can create that strategy if everybody can think like this. And I believe this movement is actually thinking like that right now, that we do not need any help. What if you need help from us and we're the one to make that decisions, to basically call the shots?
Or something like that, or you see, if you do these trams, the light trains,
yes,
there'll be a more efficient way. So people move, they may then move by the clock, and you can plan. Right now in Nairobi, you cannot plan. You see the appointment you gave me. I have spent about an hour around Nyayo House.
in traffic.
The minute it opened, I'll spend less than 5 minutes to get here. You see, this kind of because, and if you look at most of the cars, it's the driver alone.
Yes.
Yeah. He's not carrying passengers, he's not doing anything because there's no service. And if you look at the way like that market area, it's totally not served. But if you had a proper system of mass movement of people, most of those people would not be having to drive. In that way, it's more.
The main thing about this video, the main thing about, if you listen to it fully, he basically talks about the fact the market of the parastatals that are basically we have in Kenya, and the money that is basically allocated to different sectors, maybe of infrastructure or health or maybe the educational system. Sometimes, or most times, or all the time, they have this pact with this organization, and they don't basically allocate the money that has been funded for the health organization and infrastructures of all kinds. They basically have deals with the banks, and they kind of like pocket the money that they're given. And after a while, when people are questioning about why can we not see the development in this area, roads, maybe the buses that he's talking about, it's because these private sectors have a deal in regards to the money that has been allocated to them. That's corruption that's happening right there. I'll share the next video right away in regards to the economic hitman, and he's basically giving us a very tenets of little bits of what this means, and basically the person who was actually a part of this organization and the reason why he left.
Money was being diverted from health care, education, to pay off the loans.
There were a lot of people that did benefit from these crises.
Everything has been done to keep this game going.
Are there economic hitmen from powerful organizations that get poor countries to sign up for infrastructures that they don't necessarily need?
First of all, Africa is not a poor country, but that has been named for all ages. But the fact that we have minerals and resources is actually a rich country. But the fact that they're putting in our heads or people's heads, like Africa needs a lot of help, but they're the ones benefiting from this. How comes we're still poor and we have like the most amazing minerals of all time, like pure minerals that can make Africa be the greatest of all time, but we're still poor? Is there like a question or something just kind of like make you reason about that? Because it doesn't make sense.
And take up loans that they essentially cannot repay in order to make profit.
After I studied economics, I worked as a stock trader. I traded stocks and bonds for a few years. I would read company research and study the price movement in the market. It sounds boring, but I loved it. I actually still do. In my family, everyone is good with numbers, but I left the trading floor to become an actor. And because of my previous job in the market, I came across a book titled Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins, and I was shocked.
That's a book I actually want to start to read because it's very interesting to see like a lot of countries. It's actually a lot of countries, even outside Africa, literally.
These people were not discussing buying and selling stocks or companies. It is actually about buying and selling entire economies. The writer talked about economic hitmen who coordinate with bigger nations to exploit and devour poorer countries. Professional people whose job is to deceive countries and extort them with trillions of dollars.
Extort them with trillions of dollars. They offer you trillions of dollars. They definitely know you're not going to be able to repay this because you basically need this. And the fact that you're asking for this, you're not going to be able to pay it back. It's a manipulation for them to kind of put their feet in that country and control it for eternity, honestly.
Is this a colonial tactic to strip?
It's called urban colonization. That's what I'm thinking about.
Countries of their resources and political will. A country that needs to build or renew its infrastructure will need capital. It also needs the expertise, technology, equipment, and all of that.
But my question is, why not take an amount of money that you can be able to pay back? Or do they really give you such a huge amount of trillions of dollars? Why, you know what your country can pay back? why not just take an amount that you know you can be able to pay back in
No,
time?
it's to put you in debt. So you have the real resources. The money's fake here, Ty. They don't care about that money. It's fake.
Okay.
I'm giving you the money so I get the real resources of your country, your land, your gold, your diamonds, your cobalt, your uranium, the coltan, and also owner of your system, like owning your whole water. Privatize the country, the companies in your country, so I own them. So your water system, your electrical system, so I get that constant money coming in from parasitic. What I'm giving you is less than I'm taking.
Right.
So I'm getting the real stuff. So it's a scam, and it was devised that way after World War II because they knew they couldn't militarily come into Africa no more and keep it colonized because they didn't have the numbers. White people have been dying out here, Tom. That goes along with that video I showed you. They're called the Tamu. And so their genetics is fucked up. So they're dying out. So they couldn't come and still colonize you the same way through brute force because there's not enough of them. So they devised a banking scam to undermine you and keep you enslaved that way. So instead of being completely militarily, economically enslaved you and still in that way. So it's a more sophisticated way of slavery.
Right. So do they have like an amount that you have to take? That's what I was asking before. What do you just need?
You shouldn't take none of it, but yeah, it's a certain amount you have to take. It all depends on the country, how much they want to put you in debt. They'll come to say, you're going to take this debt. He's like, nah, I don't want it. I don't need none of your money. Because Africa could actually develop on its own if you had real leaders, because all the shit the world needs comes out of Africa. Africa is the only place that doesn't need anybody here, Tom. Everybody needs Africa because you have the minerals. So, but I come to you and I say, listen here, Tom, I want you to take this loan for $40 billion. You're like, Keith, I don't need a loan. I don't want it. Say, what do you want? The airtime, you love your family? You love your kids? You're like, yeah, I love them. Then I need you to take this loan. It's almost like being like part of the mafia. It's criminal. White people have always been criminal. They are criminal people. See, everything you've been told about them is a lie. They're criminals. They're natural criminals. So since you worry about being the big man, you haven't educated your people to let them know that you're being extorted. It's called extortion. That you've been extorted against. You haven't taught them any of this. You kept them dumb so you can stay in power. So your people don't know any of this shit how the real world works. They're calling their goofy religions. Jesus and the Lord or Allah. They don't know how none of this shit's happening behind the scenes because you decide to keep them ignorant too, so it keeps you in power.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to govern an ignorant people. So, so that was a scam they put all throughout Africa. They have these debts. And then they thought, so the Africans started waking up saying, hey, these debts are killing us. And so they just used the Chinese. They built the Chinese up. So the Chinese come with the same fucked up loans, and taking your shit with these fake loans. And Africa, oh, the Chinese are going to help us. They're going to, what do you think set the Chinese up?
But there's an interview here that I was listening to right away right now, and the guy says that it's the Kenyan money that actually built the SGR. It's not any loans from or any
there you go. Wow, see? Probably because the loans were stolen by the Uhuru family, the Kenyatta family, all these corrupt politicians stole that money. So probably, listen, Africa don't owe nobody no money. You have any leader that's got balls, they would say, I'm not repaying none of this shit. Kick rocks. Kiss my ass.
Right.
Because the white world, the Asian world, they're not in Africa to be your friends. They came to Africa because it's wealthy era time.
Yeah.
They don't even like us.
That's a fact.
They're there because you're the wealth of the world.
So you basically agree with the fact that We do not owe any loans to China.
Africa don't own no loans to nobody. Imagine, no, because everybody stole trillions of dollars from you. Okay, when they tell me I'm giving you aid, even the aid, you calculate what the white man has stolen out of Africa, it is crazy. It's like maybe $200 trillion. What aid? How much money do you owe them? They stole these $200 trillion from you. I don't owe you shit. Kick rocks.
And I think that's where this movement is at, because they don't really care about all that you did before or what you're doing in the city. They just want the president out, you know.
Yeah, you got to be like even Terrell over Bikini Pass. We're not paying no more of this shit, and we don't want. And he said, I came to beg him, please take the loans. We want to get loans. He said, I don't want none of your loans. Keep your fucking loan.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want your loan. Keep it, because he knows it's a scam now. He knows it's a scam. It's not there to help you develop. It's to enslave you.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Developing countries likely will import some or all of this from another country. In order to pay for the imports, they will take a loan. It seems simple and straightforward, right? Fortunately, I can talk to someone who did this job. His name is John Perkins. I want to ask him about his previous job.
I was recruited by a big international consulting firm called Charles T. Main, which has since been bought, so the name no longer is out there. My title was chief economist, and I had as many as 50 people working for me.
And he left. He left the Economic Hitman organization, but
because they were gonna kill his ass, but he told the truth. He put the book out there so that would give him cover. So it's hard to kill him because they would know, hey, these people killed them. You know, he's too famous. So he put the book out almost as a way of protecting himself from being murdered.
Right. That's really smart, honestly.
My job really was to identify countries that had resources, our corporation.
Oh, so they identify countries.
Exactly. That's here on the resources. They want the fake money doesn't mean that Africa's full of what? Resources. Resources what powers the world, Iraton. Not fake paper. Resources.
Yeah. So I'm just picturing I think in a board room or a board meeting, identifying countries that basically have the resources.
Yes, and I want it. I'm a rob and steal it, I'll get it. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what you welcome to the real world, Iraton. How white people go, they want it, they're gonna steal it, they're gonna take it, they're gonna get it. It made them wealthy. Yeah.
Want it like oil, like in the Middle East, oil. And then to arrange for a huge loan to that country from the world.
They arrange for a huge loan. This is like work. It's basically definitely work.
Bank or the IMF or one of the sister organizations. But the money would not actually go to the country itself. The country would collateralize the loan with its resource, but the money would go directly to our own corporations.
So basically all these leaders, they definitely know what's happening deep down in the ground. And they come here and oh my gosh, how wicked is that, honestly?
How about that? How about that, Iraton? It's wicked. How about that?
Big engineering companies like Bechtel and Halliburton.
Sorry, I'm crushing your whole worldview. Yes, they're wicked.
Oh my gosh.
Company would get a piece of the action to build infrastructure projects in the country. Things like power plants and industrial parks and highways, things that benefited a few rich people in those countries.
I remember actually this, I was watching this right now about the power company and the oil. And then I remembered countries in North Africa, even Nigeria, they complained so much about electricity. And this is something which is basically found, or the minerals or whatever they're kind of resourcing out is in their country, but they don't have much of it, honestly.
As well as making huge profits for our own corporations. For a long time, I thought I was doing the right thing, as many people in that business do. But over time, I began to see that those statistics, GDP, gross domestic product, and other statistics are very skewed to the rich. And so the rich were getting rich, but the poor were getting poorer because money was being diverted from health care, education, and other social services, and just basic foods and supplies to pay off the loans. I should mention one other thing, that the presidents of these countries knew that if they accepted the loans, they were putting their countries deep into debt, but they were going to get wealthy off this. Their families were going to benefit because they own the businesses, they own the industries, they own the things that were helped by
like you said, Eric, they knew.
There was
all these puppet Africans knew.
Called shackles were in the background.
Yeah.
All these puppet Africans knew what was going on.
Because he said earlier, it's going to benefit themselves and their
exactly.
family. Nothing to do with them at all.
And fuck the rest of the damn Africans. Fuck them.
Mm-hmm. That's so brutal, honestly. Like, how can a person do like that? Like,
because
that's so selfish.
Because they're corrupt psychopaths, Erica.
Oh my God. Like, why? Honestly, it's just, I cannot imagine how someone can be like that. Honestly, it's like a mind game, and we're
Erica. Let me tell you, Erica. Welcome to Africa. I don't know where you've been at. Welcome to Africa, Erica.
I was living in my own bubble. I'm telling you.
I know.
These are CIA assets usually, who overthrow governments or assassinate their
exactly.
leaders.
CIA, like I told you, CIA always run around Africa. I told you the CIA was even running around looking for the shamans who know real spirituality. They don't give a fuck about your Christians and your Allah. The CIA say, where are these shamans at? Go ahead, you got it. Go ahead.
Okay, let me go back.
Their families were going to benefit because they own the businesses, they own the industries, they own the things that were helped by electricity and so forth. But there was another incentive for them, and that was that what we call jackals were in the background. And these are CIA assets usually, who overthrow governments or assassinate their leaders.
That's what I'm the jackal, Erica. I say, hey, Erica, you love your family? You love being alive? Like, yeah, Keith. I said, then you better do what I tell you to do then. Those are CIA jackals. Those are just assassins, hitmen.
You just say no as a leader. Like, if you don't want to be a part of that, do you have to? No, you don't have to.
Well, you're gonna have to be honest and tell your people. You're going to educate the people. You don't want to do that because then you worry about being rich and stealing the country's resources, getting your piece. Unless you're honest, they say, listen here, Kenyans, I've been told if I don't do this, I'm going to get a bullet in the head. And they was like, who's going to shoot you in the head? What are you talking about? Now you're going to have to bring them up how things really work.
Right. Because you can be honest, as Keith has said. You can actually be honest if you are basically a Pan-Africanist and you want the best.
If you did, but you don't want that exactly every time. If you were Pan-African and wanted that, you would do that. But every time they don't want, white man don't want no Pan-Africans there and no power because that'll unite Africa. That means they can't steal and rob and kill. They don't want that. They want puppets to maybe talk about that shit but never do it. Never talk about Pan-Africanism. They don't want that. They make sure they put a puppet in there. Not about no Pan-Africanism. Because that keeps them stealing from the continent. Because they want those resources.
Do you think they're looking for one right now?
You think what now?
They're looking for another person they can be controlling? Because definitely.
Of course. Because we're just about to go. Of course. Because look, what's happening in Kenya is scary as shit for this cracker. Because he's talking about awakening up of African people who actually know now what's going on. They know the IMF. They told you the IMF wrote that damn bill, not the Kenyans. And they're right. It's the people. The IMF is not your friend. Those are
Yeah.
crackers that want to steal your resources and make themselves rich.
Mm-hmm.
Why they ain't going to Europe to get no resources? Because Europe has always been poor, Iritan. It has no resources. Africa's poor. That's why you're hopefully talking about invading Africa again and say we got to be colonizing. Fuck these other schemes. We got to go back and just make war with Africa and get all that shit back. Because without Africa, Europe has always been poor, Iritan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the scam is about. Steal the resource out of Africa. Make it through these puppets we got rich. And they'll let us to keep plumaging and stealing. That's why you see the African people poor. That's the paradigm. How can you live on the richest continent on the planet and be poor?
Yeah, that's a question.
Yes, that's the paradigm.
Right.
People steal it.
Uh-huh.
So you got
Yeah, if they're coming for the president or the person who's been elected or they have elected, it definitely falls with his old government, like the people who are basically running the government with him. They know about this, right?
They know about it. Most elections, none of those elections in Africa are free and fair. It's the CIA's there. They put the people in. Those elections are all rigged, all phony. Those are not real elections. The people don't vote. Ruto didn't win no vote for them people. It's like Tinubu over in Nigeria and that Kofi moron in Ghana. They don't win. The CIA comes in and rigs those elections. They rig them to put their people in there.
This is not the only one that spoke about this. Many others say that developing countries which are in heavy debt may go through coups and assassinations as a result of not wanting to play by these rules. And they say that these institutions and companies that lend countries have thousands of employees, and some jobs there are to manufacture and manage
Why do you
such
think they got all those NGOs in Africa, Iritan? Why they got those NGOs in Africa? Those are CIA operatives, NGOs, all these NGOs, non-government organizations all throughout Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Zambia, Zimbabwe, because those are not NGOs. Those are spies to overthrow the government if you don't do what you're told to do.
Right. It's just a face front. Like they put it there as an NGO.
Exactly. That's not exactly.
Oh my.
These institutions and companies that lend countries have thousands of employees, and some jobs there are to manufacture and manage such crises.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we're being watched. Dang.
I reached Vincent Bevins, author of The Jakarta Method, a book which discusses the American intervention and collusion during the mass killings of Indonesians by their government in the 60s. I am sure he has something to say about this.
Hi, Vincent. Are there figures like economic hitmen, really? Ones that force abusive contracts on nations and countries?
What I can say...
They literally force contracts on countries, guys. They force it on you. But I know you can be able to say no. And I believe this movement right now, oh my gosh, I hope nobody falls into this. That will be so sad. I hope just... It can be really like glittery and all, oh my gosh, but please, I hope nobody's gonna fall into this trap. I hope nobody will be able even to give them the benefit of their time to sit down and listen to this, because no, it has been a cycle for years, and it's time to say no to all this crap, honestly.
Is that in the second half of the 20th century, it was absolutely true that a lot of countries in the global south, countries that used to be part of something called the Third World Movement, ended up saddled with a lot of debt, which became unsustainable. And the fact that they were saddled with debt and the fact that the debt became unsustainable has a lot to do with institutions and actors based in the global north.
So are these institutions and actors from the north economic hitmen? Who is benefiting from this?
There were a lot of people that did benefit from these crises, whether or not they were financial actors or key players in international banks. I think what's important is that it absolutely happened and it benefited a small group of rich people in the global north.
And do you think that these
The
practices
global
are
north
still in
means
place
in
today?
Europe and America. The global north benefited them, made them wealthy. I'm stealing people's shit.
Yeah.
It's Europe and America. Global north.
Global North. Okay.
It's now fairly well recognized that the prescriptions the IMF was going around the world and handing out to indebted and poor countries were often very destructive. The IMF has even gone back on a lot of what it said in the past was the right medicine for a country that, quote unquote, had problems, even if those problems might have been generated by the system itself. But at the time, nobody was questioning this. And the fact that the IMF 20, 30 years later says, oops, we actually might have ruined half the world's countries doesn't change the fact.
No one was smart enough to know what was going on because they were being decolonized. They would come out of colonization. They weren't smart enough to know what was going on. And now the people caught up with the scheme, the IMF said, oh, oops, we didn't know we were stealing all the money. Oops. But they do know it because even the Kenyans is now saying, this the IMF, we don't want the IMF said, we don't give a fuck what the Kenyans said. You implement that goddamn bill. You heard them say it. IMF said, we don't give a fuck what they say. We want that money. Because it's a criminal organization. It's never set up to benefit anybody black or to help a country develop. These are pirating schemes, criminal organizations set up to rob and steal, Irritam.
Right. And it's amazing because they play on both sides, because the IMF sent a letter during the protest and they're saying, you're saddened by the protests and the people who died during the protest in Kenya. And I'm like, how dare you do this? You know what's happening, like you're a part of it.
They play both sides of the fence. They don't want to look bad. Say, yeah, we know we the ones behind it. We just sent a letter. Rudo said, crush these motherfuckers and make sure we want that damn money. You make sure you pass that bill no matter what. So I told you, Irritam, they play both sides of the fence. They're duplicitous. If you don't know what that word is, look it up. They're duplicitous. They're evil, Irritam. Evil. Duplicitous. What you're fucking with. The African hasn't understood still. Even though you fucking a bit, you do your great ancestors knew when they came in. These people are evil. Yes. Yes, they are.
It's very sad, honestly. It's just a lot.
We're still on the path today that was created by those actions generations ago.
From an economic perspective, and even capitalistic one, wouldn't you say that keeping everybody healthy with good purchase power to engage in the global economy is better for the whole world than crippling them by loans that they cannot repay?
This is the paradox at I think, the heart of liberal ideology, right? Because one would believe, based on the tenets of economics practiced in the English-speaking world, and one would believe, based on the ideals of liberalism in general, that it would be better for everyone to make sure the countries in the global south are growing just as fast and as robustly as any other country. But what we have seen is that did not happen over the last 70 years. And
they didn't want to do that because of racism. Understand that if they wasn't psychopaths, that's what you would want. Like Irritam said, a fair, equal system. They don't want that. You're fucking with a savage, a psychopath, based on white supremacy, white on top, always. End of the day, everything they do moves for white power, white supremacy. White on top, black on the bottom, all other races like the Indian, Chinese in the middle, but always white on top. It's not about any goddamn fair, equal system.
Yeah.
They don't want that.
Yeah. They want to control, they want to rule and dominate.
Yes. Ding, 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 you got it.
It's fine.
In the middle of so much data, someone could say, well, these countries and regimes accepted the deal and committed willingly. Nobody forced them. I will ask this question to the American economist, Richard D. Wolff.
Hi, Professor Wolff.
Why is it so important for the white supremacy to have that notion, like they want to be the best, they want to why
Because
what
the
kind of
psychopath.
history,
Because
you
the
know?
psychopath. Irritant. The
Yeah,
psychopath.
I can fathom that because I believe we are all equal people with equal
You
rights.
believe that shit. They don't. You because you're an African and you're loving and you're kind. That's your nature. That's not their nature. You keep thinking that's your nature. That's African people's nature. Gonna be fair, kind, and loving. They're not you. They believe in dominance and power.
Mm.
That's their nature.
But I believe time is up. Like no more, basically, from Kenya.
So the time is coming to an end. You're right. But they're gonna fight to maintain it here. So it is not gonna say our time is up and fuck it. They're gonna fight with everything they got to maintain it.
Right.
And if they gotta blow up the world, there's a quote that Dr. John Henry Clark said. He said, "He'll do it." Is a quote that Dr. John Henry Clark said. The white man will do everything to control the world, and when he finds out he can't control it, he'll blow it up. He'll blow it up if he can't rule or control. He would rather blow it up if he can't control it. I'll be on the top. Irritant. That's their nature. He said he'll rather blow it up, Irritant, destroy it if he can't be on the top and rule of it.
I don't know what to say right now.
You can look at that quote. You can look at that quote if you want to, but go ahead, play it.
I'll do that.
Very good. I'm very glad to be here.
What can you tell me about the so-called economic hitmen and corporations or institutions that strangle countries' economies?
First of all, it happens all the time. It is nothing new. It is not rare. It is common.
So somebody from
what they do exactly. It's common.
Yeah, like this guy is not shocked at all. He's like, that's what they do. It's not new. It's common.
I was shocked at you, Irritant.
Yeah, and it's a bit like old, so he's seen this for years, and it's like it's common. It happens all through. I can see General Mosquito saying, "Jumbo, how are you doing?" And then he's saying, "Irritant, where you get the money for the pals?" Really? I get paid really well.
Corporation goes and
will sometimes connect to a local equivalent of himself and cut a deal and say, look, I'm going to get paid $10 million for getting this done. I will give you $2 million if you become my local eyes and ears to help me work this out.
Forgive me if I will sound naive. Isn't the country receiving this loan participating willingly in this terrible deal?
Happens all the time. People from third world countries can get into that because they understand this game and they get the job because they say, I know better about the details of local politics. And by the way, it often fails. Don't imagine it's also smooth. Sometimes one of these people will get drunk and say the wrong thing to the wrong person. Sometimes a local official will have a change of heart and want out of this situation.
Yeah, as you're basically saying, Kate, they'll have a change of heart and want out of this situation, but they can't because
they might get mad. As an African, you might say, "What I'm doing is wrong. My people are hungry, they're starving, they're fucked up. I'm making money," so you might have a change of heart because you got some goodness still, and they'll come back to you and say, "Hey, that's the deal. You better not change it. First of all, we're gonna expose you. We're gonna call you a pedophile. We're gonna show you having sex with kids, and then we're gonna kill your ass and your whole family. So you keep your goddamn mouth shut."
Right. Dang. General Mosquito saying, I'm doing good. It's my 20th birthday, so I'm in a good mood. Is it your birthday? Happy birthday. I hope this will continue to be the greatest year of all time. Happy birthday to you, General Mosquito. Oh my god, did I play that music again? Sorry, guys.
CIA assets usually who overthrow governments or assassinate their leaders.
To a local equivalent of himself and cut a deal and say, look, I'm going to get paid $10 million for getting this done. I will give you $2 million if you become my local eyes and ears.
So basically, these are the people who are working next to the main organization. They cut a deal with people who are going to basically be like their eyes and ears, right, Keith?
Well, who's gonna basically sell out the country? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a piece of taste of it. You're gonna help me sell out your own country, but the majority of the money is gonna come back to me because I'm gonna get them damn resources. I'm gonna get your gold. I'm gonna get your cobalt. I'm gonna get your coltan, your diamonds, your platinum, and everything else. I'm gonna give you a little piece of it. I'm gonna give you some airtime. Calm down, you'll get your little piece, but you bet not cross me.
Right.
We're gonna make sure your people don't get shit. We're gonna make you and your family rich, and you keep your goddamn mouth shut.
Mm-hmm. Because you're
There you
basically
go.
benefiting from it. So my family is benefiting from this. You guys are starting a lot of money in the term that you're serving in the government.
Why do you think all the politicians in Africa are rich here, Todd? They don't make shit. They don't invent shit. They don't create shit. So why are they all rich? Because of what you just said right here.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. It rings a bell right now.
Ding, 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 the bell is ringing.
Forgive me if I will sound naive. Isn't the country receiving this loan participating willingly in this terrible...
Harold Mosquito is saying nothing is to benefit the African. Yeah, it's true. I'm learning that right now.
deal?
Happens all the time. People from third world countries can get into that because they understand this game and they get the job because they say, I know better about the details of local politics. And by the way, it often fails. Don't imagine it's all so smooth. Sometimes one of these people will get drunk and say the wrong thing to the wrong person. Sometimes a local official will have a change of heart and want out of this situation. Sometimes people who take a portion then get blackmailed by somebody else who knows they did that, and now they have to get out of that. International credit is a very complicated, sneaky, personal business that can have all the different twists and turns that you can imagine.
Sometimes we have...
Now I basically understand the term that people always use. Maybe it was not in reference to this, but it's like politics is a dirty game. Definitely.
Have whistleblowers, people who speak up out of principle. This could change things, actually, right?
The only answer I can give you is that everything has been done imaginable to keep this game.
Everything you can basically imagine, as Kido was saying, to keep this game going. Everything imaginable for them to still allocate loans to countries that don't need it per se. So everything imaginable you can think of, they've basically done it to keep this game going.
And one of the most important things is that when you get caught, either nothing is done or one or two individuals are punished, but you never change the basic system. And let me be for a moment the advocate of the banker who initiates this. That banker knows that if he can work 3 or 4 big deals, one in Ecuador, one in Mali, and one in Malaysia, he will be promoted to the president.
Oh my gosh. So if you're playing a part of this, basically there's something in for you. Even if you're not in the organization, maybe, as he said, the bankers, maybe in the private sectors, there's something in it for you, and that's why you're going to go ahead and support it. It's very interesting how people are very wicked and selfish individually, honestly.
The bank.
You know how naive it is. It's just like a 5-year-old child. It's so wicked. It's so selfish. Welcome to the real world, Erica. Every time, like every time we're living in our own bubble, walking around in our own plastic bubble and shit.
Oh my God.
That's how you succeed in the bank. They don't care.
For me, it's just going to be like, it's a lot. Like you're carrying on your shoulders to know like you're playing tricks and lying to a whole country, and you want to like kind of even be part of that. It's sad, you know? It's like the cries and the hurts and the pains of the people are going to
I don't give a shit about no pain and no cries and no hurt of your people. Fuck them.
That's what they say, definitely. Oh my God.
Fuck them, Erica. Fuck them. That's what it
Care how you do it. You shouldn't embarrass the bank, of course. But your job is to get that loan done. So if you don't, because you are honest.
Yeah, because you're honest.
Or you have scruples, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You are destroying your own career. So often you will, if you know these people, they will tell you they have no choice. And that it's important for people to understand. This is a systemic problem.
That's
so what he's telling you, he's saying systemic. So he's saying that the system that they created is psychopathic. Because I told you the whole system that they've always created, the civilization, is psychopathic because they're psychopathic people. Every system they create is psychopathic. They tell you no matter even if you're a good person, but the system's already created and it's psychopathic. Good luck. Good luck to you.
And you cannot turn your back on it because they're saying that people have basically change of hearts, but they cannot go back.
Because they get fired. Because now you're in the system, you want your job, you want to feed your children, you want to have your nice car. Now you're in the system. The system is told you it's systemic. The system is psychopathic.
Truly. General Mosquito. Hey, Ayrton, was that little dog yours? Yes. That was my dog.
She's gonna have to give her dog to the IMF to repay the loan.
What?
We want the dog too, damn it.
You want everything now?
Everything, shit.
Oh
shit.
my God.
Dog, shit.
I'll fight them for my dog. I'm telling you.
All right.
I'm out. Do not touch my dog. I'm telling you. I don't like violence, but I can try to be violenic, if there's a word like that.
All right.
Violent with things that I love. Parasitic system. Yeah, parasitic system.
Yeah, it's parasitic. Yeah, it's parasitic and psychopathic. Yes. It's always leech off of people. It's very parasitic. Everything they create is about parasitic and psychopathic.
Yeah.
After I left my job as a trader, I started a career in acting. And there were times when I didn't know when the next check will be coming. I understand how it is to be in a difficult financial situation and how this makes you vulnerable. Imagine when the entire economy of a state is placed on the betting table. This can put them in a vulnerable position, unable to negotiate anything but their survival. I know some questions are painful to ask, but I still will ask them.
Is it amazing? It's talk about like the whole future of a country is like on a betting table, and the fact that Africa is like a game to these people is very heartbreaking, and it basically gives you the motivation to be like, you know what, you have to stand and fight for your country because it's not a game. This is a continent that people live in, you know. So it's not a ball.
But you couldn't fight every time until you got the information that you got now. You didn't know why things were fucked up. You didn't know why you were poor. You thought In your religion, you told you were poor because you didn't love Jesus enough. That's what they believe. You got Africans believe they don't worship Jesus and Jesus cursed them. That's why they're poor. That's Joby. That's what Joby used to believe.
Yeah.
Joby believed people were poor because they didn't love Jesus enough. So that benefits me as a leader. You believe crazy shit. You don't know how the world works. So yeah, I said, yes, right. You're not praying hard enough. That's why you're poor. You're not loving Jesus enough. That's right.
Time is up. Before we're almost winding up, I'm going to share also a short snippet of John Perkins talking about this, just like a 2-minute, and then we're going to be closing up.
A model. China can't do it. India can't. And we economic hitmen have created a new global economy, really, a form of capitalism that I call predatory capitalism. It isn't working.
That's right, predatory, like you said, parasite, parasitical means predatory. They're like, they're white people are predators. You understand that? African people, you're the prey. Like you keep thinking that, and that's like, every say, that's so mean. About love and fairness and equality. They don't give a fuck about none of that shit. About being a predator.
Right. They take it all by force, whether you like it or not.
That's right.
Yeah. And they'll do anything, as that the guy said, unimaginable or imaginable that you thought of.
That you can't even imagine. If I told you shit they did, I'm not going to say it right here. It'll fuck your mind up here. So you can't fathom the level of depravity and wickedness they have done. It'll blow your mind. You'll go home and probably scream at the dog. Ah, do you realize what's going on? Ah! I'm like, I don't know what you're saying here, Tom. What you're talking about?
Oh my gosh.
The oceans are rising. The glaciers are melting. Less than 5% of us live here in the United States, and we consume almost 30% of the world's resources, while half the world is on the verge of starvation, or actually starving.
How do you feel about that, y'all?
That's not a model.
How they feel about it? They feel great. You're asking American people, they don't give a shit.
I know.
What? They don't give a shit. That only enter their mind every time.
Right.
India can't do it. They're trying, but they can't do it. We have to change. We have to have a revolution.
That's what's up. And I love the fact that this guy was a pact in this economic hitman business, and now he's out. I think he had a change of heart, as Kid said. And the fact that he wrote this book, now they can't get to him. It's a very genius way to basically come out of that.
We must change the system. I'll get into that in a minute, but first, how did I become an economic hitman? While I was still in business school, I was interviewed by the National Security Agency, the NSA. They put me through a series of
NSA. You see that? He said NSA is over the spy. NSA is a spy organization. So he was already recruited out of college. Time.
He was in business.
Yeah, he was in business school. That's college.
They were literally watching him, or
yeah. They're watching you now. They're watching you on this shit. I told you that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Psychological tests, including on a lie detector. It's a long story, but to make a long story short,
it must be a psychopath. It must be a psychopath.
Right. Because he went through a lot of tests. You know.
I told you they test you every time. I told they give mind typing, mind test. It must say you're a psychopath. Are you gonna do our bidding? You gonna do what we tell you to do? Can you be groomed to be a psychopath?
Right.
Deep into the Amazon rainforest. Now, I'd grown up the son of a teacher in a boys' prep school for very wealthy boys in rural New Hampshire. I grew up with lots of snow and cold, kind of like here in the winter, you know? And suddenly I find myself living in a thatched roof hut in the steamy jungle. You think I adjusted easily to that? After the Peace Corps, I then took a job. I was given a job as an economist at an international consulting firm in Boston with close ties to the NSA and the CIA.
Wow.
I was trained by a woman named Claudine Martin, whose job it was to train me to be an economic hitman. Now, Claudine had seen my NSA files. She knew that I wanted three things that I thought all my prep school buddies, the rich kids, had had: money, power, and sex.
Exactly.
Claudine was really good at her job.
Exactly. Brain typing. They were already brain typing his ass. See, where's he at? Exactly. Sex. They're going to give you debaucherous sex. They're going to give you all kind of prostitutes with women to do your job. Exactly. And they don't brain type. You know you want money and power. Now you're a psychopath and you'll be ready to steal it and kill for it. God damn it. That's
So
right.
you basically feed your desires and you basically
Yes. Yes.
Actually, that's so true.
And she promised me the first two: money and power. And she taught me quite a bit about the third. And then she told me what my job would entail.
Thank you guys for joining me right now on TikTok. Those who are watching on YouTube, X, and Facebook. We're almost winding up for Let's Pop with Iritan. The topic has been the confessions of an economic hitman in regards to how these organizations are controlling African, or basically a lot of countries, by giving them a lot of loans. And then they have basically full control of the country's resources and political system. But we're almost winding up. I really appreciate your presence and your contribution, General Mosquito, Mr. Blackheart Fire. We're almost done. Just a short video in regards to one of the guys, John Perkins, who was an economic hitman, and he's giving us tenets of how.
That's what white people. The Mosquito know what white people love: money, power, and coochie. Much coochie as possible. Money, power, coochie. That's it. But first, money and power. What? Welcome to the world. Money and power first. Really, power is first. Power over money. Power, dominance. Power. Then money, and then maybe coochie. But coochie, I've been saying those are the three. He just reiterate what I've always said. People get mad when I say it. Oh, Keith, you're being so brash. Motherfucker, that's what they believe in. Power, money, and coochie. They don't believe in your Jesus. Fuck your Jesus.
Right.
I would go to countries with resources our corporations covet, like oil. I'd arrange a huge loan to those countries from the World Bank or its sister organizations, but the money wouldn't actually go to the country. It would go to our corporations, Bechtel, Halliburton, Brown and Root, familiar names, to build big infrastructure projects in those countries and incidentally make huge profits in the process. They'd build power plants and industrial parks, things that would benefit a few wealthy families in the country, the ones that own the industries. But the majority of the people would suffer. They would be left holding a huge debt they couldn't repay.
He's basically said it all. Definitely. That's what they did. He's gonna be sent to our country, maybe for this, to check out the minerals and everything, and do this fact. But the main thing, everything as a proportion of what their last video, they said they're gonna offer you 10 million, or what they're gonna get from that country or the resources or the pact is 10 million, but they're gonna offer you like 2 million to basically be a part of it. But that has been a very interesting, even me, I think I'm gonna really meditate on this deeper as I do more research of the confessions of an economic hitman here on Let's Pop with Iritan. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. General Mosquito, thank you so much. You're laughing about what Keith was saying. Thank you so much for joining us, Jerome, Mikado, everywhere on TikTok, YouTube. I appreciate you. I'm going to see you on my next show on Wednesday, hoping to have a guest to have amazing conversation. Remember to download our app on Google Store and also those who are using the iPhone, kindly go to www.blackheartfriendnetwork.com, where you find truth and facts in regards to African history and everything hidden in regards to news. But remember, you are the change you need to see in the world. You matter. Spread love and kindness like a confetti. Take care, guys, and have a great afternoon.
Much love, family.
Much love, Keith. Any last words? I'm so sorry.
Oh no, you got to be sorry for saying. Yeah, last word. That's why you must arm yourself with information and knowledge, not belief. You got to know things, African people. You're starting to know, not belief systems, not your religions. You got to have knowledge, gnosis, and through your knowledge, it'll dig you out of the hole that these no good wicked crackers that put you in. Knowledge.
Yeah. That's all?
That's all. Much love.
That's all. Much love, guys. Much knowledge. Do your research in regards to what's happening. No, you cannot be in the loophole. Take care, guys.
Like with knowledge, you can't be manipulated.
Yes.
Problem is that Africans don't have any knowledge, so you were easily manipulated. So now that you got knowledge, that's why Rudo can't manipulate you. And the kids are like, nah, hell no. No, you gotta go. This is what we need. So you're not easily manipulated like your parents and your grandparents where you have knowledge now.
Right. Knowledge is power.
Yes, it is.
Animals they in human form. Body man nobody like walk, but you must hustle if you not job. If no finish, they won't fight us. If them they run, them no fit catch up. I know they form say you're too righteous. No come they form say you don't like us. We no get the time for the hate and the bad energy. Come on, mind on my money. Make you dance like broccoli. Steady green like broccoli. Steady on my grind, oh yeah, what they want telling me. Cooking on my fantasy. They want to check if my tap be oh. But it they rush quite well in the morning. Now they make my tap in the rush. The kind money we got. Yeah, they rush quite well in the morning. No be hype, everybody they rush. There's no